When we talk about American financial power, we usually look toward Wall Street. But the decisions governing your wallet actually happen hundreds of miles away, in the regulatory havens of South Dakota and Delaware. 8 in 10 Americans now carry at least one credit card, and the collective balance has reached a staggering milestone, over $1 trillion in total debt. For the individual cardholder, that averages out to a $6,000 balance. It's a debt that is becoming increasingly expensive to maintain, as average interest rates have climbed to historic highs of over 19%. This isn't a surge in luxury shopping. As inflation outpaces wages, more people are swiping for basic necessities, using high-interest credit to cover car repairs, medical bills, and weekly groceries. This raises a question about how the system was built. Why are these interest rates so high, and how did a handful of specific states gain the power to dictate the terms of your debt? Credit cards have transitioned from a simple convenience into a high-cost survival tool for the modern American family. The system began in the 1950s with the Diners Club, which functioned as a restaurant IOU. You carried a card so you didn't need cash for dinner, but you were required to pay the balance in full every single month. In 1958, Bank of America introduced Bank America Card, now known as Visa. They changed the model by allowing customers to carry a balance from month to month, officially turning consumer interest into a major revenue stream. Originally, those interest rates were capped by the laws in the state where the customer lived. That changed in 1978, when a Supreme Court ruling determined that the legal interest limit is set by the state where the bank is located. Banks immediately moved headquarters to states like South Dakota and Delaware, bypassing local consumer protections across the country. This legal shift turned the credit card into a national profit engine, enabling a trillion-dollar industry to operate without the constraints of local usury laws. Your APR is built on 2 numbers, the Federal Reserve's prime rate and a significant margin added by the bank. Because credit cards aren't backed by an asset like a house, banks charge these high margins to protect themselves against the risk of the borrower. This chart shows how that interest compounds. If you have $5,000 in debt at 20, the 50% of cardholders who carry these balances generated over $105 billion in interest payments for major banks in a single year. Banks optimize the minimum payment to extract the maximum interest over the longest possible time frame. Some politicians are now pushing for a 10% federal cap on interest rates. Banks have countered with a doomsday warning, claiming a cap would force them to cut off credit access for 80% of current cardholders, potentially causing a recession. Without a federal cap, consumers have to navigate the system on their own. Experts suggest ignoring the flashy marketing for travel points and cash back, which are often used to attract customers to high-rate accounts. 0% balance transfers offer temporary relief, but they are a calculated gamble. Banks offer them betting that you won't pay off the full balance before the high interest rates kick back in. The data shows that real wages have largely stalled, while healthcare and housing costs continue to rise. When a paycheck no longer covers the cost of living, families are forced to fill the gap with high-interest credit. For many, these cards are the only tool available to prevent a total financial collapse. Until the cost of living aligns with what people actually earn, high-interest debt will remain an inescapable part of the American economy.